Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon Live. Because you don't know how it's going to turn out.
My kids empowered me to get out.
What's going on with this remote learning and in the midst of COVID?
Working for different elected officials, learning and understanding how to put the community first.
Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. As you know, we're celebrating Women's History Month this month. We have so many wonderful trailblazers that's doing great things, making great impact on the community. And we're just so excited about the different women. And on tonight, we have two special women that we're going to highlight and talk to. Our first guest is Mrs. Gwen Carr. So we're going to ask Dr. Vanessa to introduce our guest tonight. Hello there, Dr. Vanessa.
How are you, Lottie? Absolutely. Our special guest tonight is Miss Gwen Carr. She suffered the loss of her son, Eric Gardner, in 2014. She is an activist, advocate for systemic reform, fighting against police brutality. She is the president and founder of the Eric Initiative Foundation. Let's welcome Ms. Carr to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello there, Mrs. Carr. How you doing?
Good. And yourself?
Good, good. Thank you so much for taking a little time to come on and talk to us tonight.
No problem.
It's Women's History Month, and we know we cannot get out of March without celebrating you as well. We know your tragedy. We lost Eric, your son, through a police officer. And ever since then, you have been an advocate. You have been fighting for justice, for police. You've been out there on the forefront.
Yes, I have.
Getting things done, making a change, and helping families that has gone through the same thing that you have gone through. So tell us a little bit, like what have happened since you've been out there on the trail. Do you see any change? Do it look like we might have moved forward?
Well, as we know, change comes slow. But we have to keep on pushing. We got to keep on trying to break down walls so that we can get, even if we get one piece of progress, one piece of justice, we've done something. I always feel like we have more to fight with than our forefathers did. So we shouldn't just complain. We should just push forward. And yes, I've been out there. I've been trying to get laws changed, which I did get the anti chokehold bill, the Eric Garner anti-chokehold bill passed. And I was on a lot of other bills.
Okay.
So, I do things in front of the camera as well as behind the cameras. And I even try to empower women, mothers who have had the same tragedy as I've had, to, try to be strong and try to keep their child's name alive and let people know who their child was, and don't let the media be the main actors in their case.
Right, or either paint them in a bad way or something like that. Every time when something happened, they gotta try to go dig up something bad on the person or whatever, just make them look, you know what I'm saying? To make them look bad and everything. So that's why we have to just knock them to the side.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to salute you as one of our trailblazers for Women's History Month. And also being a law enforcement and being on the job with that incident with Eric Gardner, it is a tragedy. But it's a tragedy that we are seeing far too often. And I salute you because you are still out there and keeping his voice, his life, his legacy alive. And so that's one of the things I wanted to ask, is that why is it important that we never forget who Eric Gardner was?
Yes, because I never want people to forget who he was or who he is to me. As I said, the media would put a spin on it. They'll make him like he was a homeless person, like a bum or uneducated, which he was a college graduate, and he was not homeless, and I have to tell them that. I have to tell them that the day that he was murdered, they always say that, because of him selling cigarettes. Not saying that he didn't sell cigarettes, but that day he wasn't selling cigarettes. He had just broken up a fight, and the police targeted him.
Yeah, but the thing about that, Mrs. Carter, I always have said in the back of my mind, even if he was selling, just say he was out there selling cigarettes, right? What is the big deal? Because somebody is standing on the corner, they're selling, even they claim it's illegal, but they sell it inside the stores and things like that. So I don't know why they always make such a big deal out of when something happens. Why would you even arrest somebody over a cigarette? Why you just couldn't give them a warning? A warning to say, look, I don't want to see you out here again selling the cigarettes on the corner, whatever, because they sell them in the stores on the corner.
Right, but like we said, we know this is not like some detrimental crime that he was doing with cases, and it's not just it's much more than a cigarette. We got to look at all the systemic racism in the systemic internal things that come that's predicated around the whole scenario. Okay, he's a male Black. They may feel he was threatened. He may have been warned before. Police were called, and sometimes people may call and say they may feel threatened or cases. So sometimes it's a bigger picture than we see. And we know
exactly. That's what I'm saying. We know it's a bigger picture, but the thing about it it's like, even if you walk up to him like they did and was accuse him, then you're gonna grab him and try to bring him down to the ground. I mean, this is not even something like he was bothering someone or fighting someone and stabbed someone. This is someone just standing there. Like I said, even if he was selling cigarette, it's a cigarette. It's not like he's standing there with a gun or knife in his hand or something like that.
Absolutely.
It wasn't no reason truly for you to even walk up and say anything to him. But if you did, just say, look, you're not supposed to be out here selling cigarettes. This is a warning. Get off the street, get off the corner, or, go on where you going at or something like that. And that's what usually happens a lot of times is people are standing there minding their business and stuff. And you make an issue out of nothing.
Well, Lottie, I should say, because I'm prior law enforcement, I would say everybody that dons that uniform is not what their uniform represents.
We know that.
And for sure. And everybody on this job is not on this job for the same reasons. With cases. And it's a lot of cops on the job that do good things. But it's unfortunately when a situation like this becomes media having and all the rhetoric that surrounds it, it becomes headline attention. And one of the things that I don't like, and when a good cop do something good, is online, is on page 50 that nobody reads. But my concern is that sometimes when things get convoluted in these high profile cases, that the media tend to control the narrative. So when they start controlling the narrative, they control the algorithm of how things and how people perceive and react to the situation.
Exactly.
The situation, absolutely. Exactly. It is something that should have.
That's what I was saying before, because they always try to dig up somebody's past, try to bring out the worst in the person or whatever. We're not talking about their past. We're talking about what just happened. And that's what we should be sticking to, not going out and bringing up some like if I did something wrong and I might have took some nude pictures 10 years ago, where you going to look for my nude pictures for instead of just talking about what I did?
Yeah, right. The current event. Yes, that's what
they always do.
You got to control the narrative from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Because if you let the media run away with the narrative, people just tend to go with what they hear first.
Absolutely.
And, that sticks in their mind. So if you don't control the narrative, they will. And afterwards, there's nothing you could tell them to change their mind. And we know that the police officers in different communities, they patrol differently. In our communities, the Black and brown communities, that there's a different agenda. And things that they would do to our children and our boys, men and women, they won't do that in the white communities.
They don't.
They have had videos where white men have stood toe to toe with the police officers and never got shot.
They never got exactly. But see, my thing is, Mrs. Carr and Vanessa, is that I don't put them in the same basket, because all police officers are not bad.
No, they're not.
I can say that because two of them saved my granddaughter's life, and I will always be indebted to them for saving her life and stuff. So that's why I would never put them in the same basket.
No, they're not in
We
the
got
same
them apples in there that
category.
need to be thrown away, and that's the ones that we need to go after and fight to get them off the. I don't know why they still on the force, and because their boss has to know something is wrong, because I'm sure they get complaints. Because even with the officer that choked Eric, like, why are you standing in the background with your finger up like you because you got off or you thought you had got off or whatever, making signs in the back. Like,
but you know what? I like to add, the paramedics, the EMS, everybody on that scene, no one stood up and did their job and take the initiative and make every effort to save his life.
No, they didn't.
They did not.
They did
and
not.
I recall that I've seen the video plenty of time here and there with cases. They had not. So to me, it's not just the police officers that are accountable. It's everybody that responded to that scene as
exactly.
a first responder.
Exactly.
That's
why I said I don't feel like justice will be done until each and every one of them stand accountable for their wrongdoings.
Absolutely. And like I say, I've donned a uniform. I've since been retired, but that is always the thing in my back of my head. And I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna be honest. When my kids came into the country many years ago, and I said, "Listen, this is not Panama. This is a little bit different. Police stop you, act this, what's that?" Because it's something that's historical. It's things that unexpected. Police couldn't tell me anything.
Right.
In my kids' life, and I know I'm not in a parent's shoes like your own. But I know it's never could be the same when a parent buries a child.
That's true.
No. And see, that's why because sometimes everybody doesn't do what you did. Some people, it happened and, it kind of die down and go away.
Absolutely.
But you stepped up to fight for your child. So, but we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back with some more of Mrs. Gwen Carr. So we'll be right back.
Hello, this is Marshall Cuellar, and you're watching Keeping It Real with Shannon.
It's Shannon. It's Shannon.
People couldn't see my potential, so I had to show them.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
Today, I'm the CEO of my own company.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Why are we not rethinking this?
I am more.
I'm more
than who I am on paper.
We're back, and you just joining us. We're highlighting the women trailblazers for Women History Month, and we was talking to Mrs. Gwen Carr, and I see that our second trailblazer is going to be able to join us, so we're going to bring her on as well, Miss Valerie Bell. How are you?
Welcome. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Before we go to Miss Bell, I just wanted to say also with Mrs. Carr, you're going to be able to hear more from her on March 26th. So if you're available, come out to see her at Restoration Plaza at 1368 Fulton Street on March 26th at 6 o'clock. You'll be able to hear her say more about her story. And you can come out and have that discussion with her as well. So now we have our second trailblazer joining us, Mrs. Valerie Bell. How are you? I'm glad you got on to join us. What happened to Mrs. Carr now?
No, she's here. I think she's in the background. But let me just introduce our special guest today. Another trailblazer for the month is Miss Valerie Bell, who lost her son Sean Bell in 2006, the day before his wedding. She is now an activist with the mother of the movement. She fights against police brutality and helping other families. She is also an author of Just 23. Welcome, Ms. Bell, to the show.
Thank you so much. Just a correction. It was on his wedding day, that morning, early in the a.m. on his wedding day.
Are we able to bring Ms. Carr back on or we're not?
She actually, you wanted to bring one, yes.
Yes. Hi, Ms. Carr, you back. Good.
I could see you all the time. I didn't know.
Okay, then we just get Miss Bell on. So Miss Bells, we want to also find out of, we know you lost Sean on the day of his wedding, and since then you were out there also fighting, being advocacy to help other families that these things have what that had happened to. So tell us, like, what have you been doing to help fight this cause?
Well, even though it happened in 2006, I didn't come out to 2014, 8 years later, because I had other family members to take care of. My daughter, who was 14 at the time, my oldest son was 27, and Sean's two daughters at the time was 4 and 5 months. Now they're grown, 22 and 18, and off to college. So back then I was able to get out to meet other family members who lost loved ones by the police officers unnecessarily. Going up to Albany, going to speak before the governor at that time. I don't remember the governor's name, but I know I spoke to Governor Cuomo at the time when we were able to pass certain laws for a special prosecutor. So I've been working diligently from 2014 to 2023, on and off. And God said, it's time for you to rest. So now I'm taking care of my 2 grandboys, and I try to get out every now and then when I'm invited. So just to keep our son's name out there.
Absolutely. And I want to, pardon me for that correction, because I was also on the job with both of your sons' incidents with NYPD. And I want to ask you, like I asked Ms. Carr, why is it important to make sure everyone know who Sean Bell was and what he is to you?
Okay, just to let them know, he wasn't just a young guy off the street doing the wrong. Everybody, do things wrong, but they eventually get their life back together. Just to let them know, he would have been a baseball player, because on the night of his bachelor party, he received a phone call from the Dodgers. He was into fixing electrical things. That year, 2006, he went through the apprentice shop at Local 3 for electrician. In January 2007, he was about to be called, but everybody knows the story. So just to let the people know that he was about somebody. He was a dad, he was a brother, he was a cousin. He loved his family dearly. He had an old soul. He knew what to say to people, especially to his young friends, to help them out with their girlfriends.
Right. Tell me that with the girlfriend. So we was talking to Mrs. Carr, and Mrs. Carr was, saying being on the out there fighting, being an activist, being an advocate, to try to get some of the laws changed. And we was also talking about, in the neighborhoods, when police officers come to certain neighborhoods, how they act different or whatever. How do you feel about that?
That's true. I still, when I pass an officer, I speak to them. They speak to me. I'm right now with the organization, which I was back then, Justice Committee, where they do cop watch. And I never forget, one day I was in my house and I saw the undercover cop stop somebody. And I took my camera out and was, videoing him. But it really came to nothing bad. Thank God for that. But to me, they need to learn about each neighborhood that they work in. They come from different boroughs to work in different boroughs, not in their borough. So they need to know about all of us, no matter what color of skin we have. They need to know, because we're easily labeled, and that's been going on for so many years, and it needs to stop.
Absolutely.
No cops not bad. They just need to get rid of the ones who do the wrong things.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And we know that Sean's kids were young at the time.
Yes.
So what do you tell, his kids and your grandkids and in the youth that you encounter when they encounter police officers?
To give respect. To get respect, you have to give respect. Even though they stop you, you should have a right, and I think we do have a right to ask you why you stopped me, officer. But you should say it in a manner way that it won't get them upset.
Right.
And I always say, if you're not for the job, don't do that job. I always tell my children, it's not about the money, it's about what you like doing. And if you're going to become a police officer, you should like doing that. You should like, and not like love. You might not like what the people do, but you should love the people. And that's why you placed in that position, because I assume that you took that position because you wanted to help the community, to serve and protect.
So let me ask a question, because I always wondered about this kind of stuff. Mrs. Carr or Mrs. Bell, both of you can speak on it. It's when these things happen like that, and you have to encounter with, the other officials, elected officials, the other, not officers, but the head people of the police department or whatever. How does that work? Because I know, they got to make sure their side is right, make sure they saying the right thing and everything. Like, what did you encounter when you had to deal with them? Did they
Well,
make it easy for you?
well, in my case, at first it was a lot of cover up. Even when my son first was murdered, they had the story all together, what they were going to tell, and what they put down on the report, and the whole report was false. But nothing happened to them after when they seen the video and seen nothing that they said was true. So at that point, I knew I had to step up, and I had meetings with the commissioner. I had meetings with the DA. I had meetings with a lot of them that, I requested meetings with. So a lot of times when you have meetings with them, they try to sugarcoat things. Yeah, they're going to do the right thing. We're going to investigate. But like the DA that we had at that time, Donovan, he assured us that we was going to get, like a fair trial, a fair jury trial, and we didn't, So, and at that point, I lost some faith in them, in the system. And, but like you said, all police are not bad. I have dealt with some police, and even in my community that really has tried to help, like the community police. They'll call me, they'll ask me what I need, or, anytime I'm getting ready to have an event in the street, they'll call me and say, well, what day do you need the permit for? So it's good police as well as there's bad, but they got to get rid of those bad police, and they got to stop sugarcoating things when they know they're bad. When they know that it's wrong, you take a stand and say, well, no, this police officer was wrong.
But they're not going to do. We already know they're not going to do that, because they want to make sure their side doesn't look bad, so they can justify why they did what they did. It's the same thing with what was his name that had his name on the neck of George Floyd.
Yeah.
Now, we all looking at the video. So what video was you looking at?
Right.
And so you're going to try to act like the man wasn't doing anything to George Floyd. Now they're going to try to say he died from something else. Like,
they say he died of drugs.
Where did this be coming from when you're looking at the video?
Well, it's all about accountability, right? Because sometimes the video is what it is, right? You can't change the video. Now, if you got hearsay and witnesses and things that be tampered, but the video is what it is. So I mean, sometimes we have to rely on the witnesses, although you still need a stronger defense in lieu of the video.
No, you rely on the people that's standing there that see stuff and can testify.
No, but I'm saying
the video now is what's saving a lot of stuff,
right?
Because
that's what I'm saying in lieu of, but that's what I'm saying in lieu of that video, because sometimes you need that extra, support of even though it's like what part you don't understand, what part you see. Are you seeing something other than what I'm seeing? Granted, but sometimes you need that support for the people who's been there as a witness.
But they don't even believe the witnesses. During my son's case, they were like victimized.
Right.
And during that time, they didn't do a video because it was 50 shots flying all over the place. And who had time? There were phones out at that time. Who had time to do a video? And it's like he say, she say. They didn't even believe the witnesses. So that's like,
But there was witnesses inside the bar. The place where he was at. Didn't any of those witnesses come forward?
Yes, they did. They did,
okay.
And they backed it. They bring up your past.
Right.
Right, but what I'm saying, like the case you talking about, Miss Bell, when you said they don't believe the witness, I don't feel it like if they don't believe the witness. I think they try to just say stuff like that so they can keep their case, to make their case look good, and try to make the witness look like they're a type of person that they're not, like what you say, a liable witness. They know the person is telling the truth.
Right.
They try to discredit them. They try to discredit them.
They know the person is telling the truth.
I believe in my son's case, if he had a jury, they would all been convicted. But he didn't. Only one of the cops got fired out of 5 of them.
So quickly before we have to wrap up, just tell me, what do you think we need to do more of when these situations happen? What do you think? Ms. Carr, you've been out there on the trail, and you still out there. What is it you think that we need to do more of, to kind of help stop? So we'll never stop it. I don't feel that we can never stop it. But when it does happen, what do we really need to be doing?
Stop marching. I mean, it's okay to march, but continue to do the work. You can march for a day or two or for a week. Everybody is gone. They forget about the situation until something else happens. You need to come together. If you have to go by yourself, go to these politicians. We're the ones who vote them in. They get in there, yes, for us voting them in, but when they get in, it's a whole different story.
Yeah, I think the whole community should get involved, and not only the community it happened in. I mean, everybody should get involved. So, and let them know we mean business. Now, we can't just let you take our children out like this for no reason at all. And we need to go to have these politicians. You got to be up in their face. Yes. You can't just write a letter, send them an email. They pay that no attention. Exactly. I found out you got to be up front and up close and front with them. And you got to ask them to their face, are you going to support me on this? You've seen what happened.
Exactly.
Are you going to co-sign with me? You have to do all of this. And then sometimes if you do roll call on these politicians, you might get more of a response. Yeah. I mean, that's what I've found to be true.
So look, we got to wrap up, but look, let me thank you for coming on. But the thing about it is, if you want to hear more from these ladies, you want to hear more about their story, you want to know more about what they've been doing, join them on March 26th at Bedford Stuyvesant Restoration on Fulton Street in Brooklyn. You will hear their stories. You will hear more. You'll be able to talk to them. You'll be able to share your stories as well. So come out and join them on March 26th at Bedford Stuyvesant Restoration Center on Fulton Street in Brooklyn. So we want to thank you for joining us tonight, and we want to thank them for coming on. And we definitely going to be there to hear them speak on March 26th. So look, call me so you get your call. Only $15. So come on out, join us. It's going to be lots of fun. We're going to have music. We're going to have food. We're just going to enjoy us as women. And don't miss coming out hearing more for them, because they got a lot more to say. So we want to thank you for joining us tonight. Remember, you can watch us every Saturday on Brick Arts Media at 5:30 and Manhattan Network at 2:30, and here every Tuesday 8 p.m. So we want to thank you again for joining us. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Today's show is sponsored by Abu's Bakery. If you have a sweet tooth, stop by Abu's Bakery for some delicious cakes and pies.
Would you like beautiful pictures for your home or your office? Then stop by Faith Art Gallery. They have a large selection of pictures from around the world.
It's Shannon.